Alrighty. So, according to this, it says we're live. What's going on, guys? Anton here, trying my first live stream on this channel. And so, I've recently been upgrading my equipment and things like that. So I figured I'd give it a shot. Today, we are going to be talking about uh, instant film, in particular, Instax mini film, or well, not just the mini film, but just Instax film, because I at this time don't shoot Polaroid or anything like that. But anyway, what's going on? If you're just joining us, Antoine here, back with another video. And so, yeah, we're just going to test this out. Give me just a second while I'm waiting for people to join us. I'm going to send a couple of invites out so people can hop on the stream. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So far, it looks good. And again, just give me a moment while I invite some people in. So, I'm in a Instax Facebook group, and so I would love to see some of them hop in, and then we can, you know, real professionals in that group, and so we can talk about this from more of a professional standpoint. Because I mean, I do all right, but I'm not. By no means am I a professional, especially with the instant film stuff. So yeah, so we're gonna monitor there. And again, I apologize if we have internet issues as far as the the picture season up and things like that because it is crazy weather where I'm at. So, you know, but yeah, sorry, I should have planned this out better, but I just want to dive in again. Give me just a moment. We are, and so we're just going to go ahead and add some people real quick and invite some people real quick. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm going to start one camera at a time. So we're going to dive into the Instax Mini 9 first and just kind of talk about it. And like I said, this is the entry level. One thing I like about Instax is the bar to get in is pretty low. Uh, Cameras, you find these all over Facebook Marketplace for like 30, 40 bucks. I think this one was like 30, and this is the Mini 9. I think they're up to like the 11 now. I got a couple of Mini 7 pluses for my nieces for Christmas. And so, yeah, if you're trying to get in, you can do it. And okay, this is now it's trying to. There's the switch account button. So yeah, and like I said, also I try to buy instant the mini film cameras. They've got three sizes. So Instax by Fujifilm, they've got three sizes of film. You've got your minis, which are like these guys here. You got squares, which are and then wide. Let me grab a square. So squares are more like Polaroids, like the square format, but they're like mini Polaroids. So they're slightly smaller. But you got your minis, okay? Then you got your square. They're the same length, but the squares just have more width. So, and then of course there's the wides, and I don't have wides to show you, at least not yet, but we'll dive into more of that as the stream goes on. We got a bit of a surprise when it comes to that. So, okay, here we go. Now, so alrighty, now I can share this. So, anyway, if you're just joining us, Antoine here, we are talking about instant film and in particular Fujifilm Instax instant film because that's what I shoot with primarily. So, when I say you got any questions, comments, concerns, threats, you can put them in the chat and we can talk about it. But since I only have 5 subscribers on this channel, no one's probably watching this, at least not yet, but you can catch the review. Like I said, I'm sending a link now to my friends in the Instax group to see if any of them want to hop in because, like I said, a lot of them are much better photographers than I am. So it'd be cool to get some of their perspective on things if I can find the group now on Facebook. Here we go. No, that's not it. But like I said, if you're just joining us, go ahead if you haven't done so already. Hit the subscribe button. Um, like I said, I'm getting back into this channel, and so I spell subscribe. That's hilarious. But anyway, getting back into this channel, so we are going to be doing more videos, and I'm definitely going to be doing more instant film stuff because like that's my new thing. I've been shooting a lot of instant film lately, and now I can't get my instant film group to pop up. So the fun continues. I gotta go down my list. Well, boy, oh boy. So anyway, if you're joining the chat, if you're into instant film camera, let me know what you're shooting on. Like I said, I've got a few Instax cameras to talk about. I've got four now, and so I'm looking to get some more. And we'll talk about those third party companies that make those more pro level and prosumer instant film cameras. And I'm looking to eventually hop onto Polaroid instant film, but that's just kind of expensive at the moment. I'm just trying to get better at it first. So here we go. So I'll just voice this out. Going live to talk about Instax instant film. If any of you want to join, okay. Right, got the message out. Post the link, and hopefully, alrighty, there we go. So notified the Facebook group, so hopefully they'll hop in as the stream goes on. But if you're just joining us, name is Antoine. I am a uh, budding filmmaker and photographer here out of lovely Wichita, Kansas. And normally I shoot digital like 95% of the time, but um, as time's been going on, I've been getting more into film photography. And with that, the problem with film photography is it's expensive, right? And so all of us photographers have been looking for alternatives to shooting film because not only is it expensive, but it's also time consuming. There's not a lot of places where you can just go get your stuff developed anymore, which is unfortunate. And it's just because of that, like it's just time consuming to get any of it, you know, developed and all that. Like for me, there used to be a place right here in town that would do it, and they got out of the game now. So they ship the film to a place in the southwest corner of the state. Turnaround is usually about 3 weeks. So that's really inconvenient for me. So um I want to take pictures and get that film look, but I don't want that film wait time, nor do I want the cost because it is expensive to develop film now. It's expensive to buy film, um, especially any of the better film stocks. And so a lot of people are looking to alternatives. And one of the alternatives that people are looking toward is instant film. I think instant film gives a lot of those film like characteristics. And even if you're using um, your digital cameras and then printing to instant film, I think you can still, I mean, just putting it on these instant film cards really gives that film like aesthetic. And we'll take a look at some examples here in a little bit. But let's just go ahead. Since I put the notice out, let's go ahead and get started. Let's go to the comments here. And again, first, I guess I'll start off by talking a little bit about myself because this is our first time doing a live stream and talk about myself in just kind of in the realm of my instant film journey. And so I got started on instant film. Well, in the 90s, I'm sure as a kid, you shoot on Polaroids and things like that. Like your parents, if you're at the park, whatever. It's like you ask, they'll hold the camera and take a picture, whatever the case. So there was a little bit of that. I didn't shoot a lot of photography in general growing up. I only got into photography heavy like in the last 5, 6 years or so. But a couple of years ago, my girlfriend's dad, she bought me a gift for Christmas, I think it was, and he gave me his camera that he never opened. He's like, "Hey, I know you like cameras, and I've never used this camera, so here you go." And it was this guy right here, this Instax SQ6. So it was nice. I got it brand new in the box. He just tossed it to me because he uh he just wasn't interested in it at the time, and so he gave it to me, and so I shot a roll with it, and honestly, I shot my first picture, and it was really bad, and I'm like, "Oh, this kinda sucks," and so I just kinda abandoned it. Um, Fast forward a couple of years later, now I'm more into shooting film, and so I picked it back up again, bought another roll, and really just start to practice and start to get some better results. This is sorry, this film is all bent up, but because I didn't store it right. But this is one of my favorite shots, just of a city downtown on the square, and so I do like the square format. I do like this. Kind of reminds me of like shooting square, like 6x6, but yeah, that's one of my favorites that I took with it. It's kind of tricky to get your exposure right, especially with the limited tools that a lot of these cameras come with. And of course, this is just a point and shoot, like it's automatic for the most part, although there are some settings on the back that can help you depending on what type of scene that you're in. But we'll talk more about that in a minute. So anyway, got the SQ6 and really um got into shooting instant film. And so I started watching YouTube videos. I started off with a Jordan Lang video talking about the SQ6 and just trying to practice how to get better and take better stills with it. And eventually I moved on to mini because the square Instax film is kind of expensive. Once you get into square and wide Instax, now you're getting closer to Polaroid. Still cheaper than Polaroid. Polaroid is mad expensive, which is why I don't really shoot Polaroid. But I'm gonna have to bite that bullet. Sorry, adjust my seat here. I'm gonna have to bite that bullet eventually, and because I do like Polaroid. I was in a camera shop. Guy brought his Polaroid in and took a photo of me. It's upstairs on my fridge, but I really like the quality of it, and I really like just like the aesthetic. And that's again, I do like that film look when it comes to shooting instant film cameras. And even if you print, like I said, with your cameras on instant film, it looks really good. So let me see. Jimmy, give me just a second here. I got some more square film, square photos to show off. And some was in the video that I talked about, where I talked about the Instax app, which that's not good. I mean, it serves its purpose as far as scanning, but there are better ways to scan your instant prints and have them look much better, much more detail, and all of that. But it's nice. It's free, and I mean, it does what it says it does, just not very well. So there are other ways to do it. But looking at some of these other square photos, this one also I thought came out really good. This is a picture. I was trying to take a picture of my mini Evo while I was walking along the bridge here in town, and the first problem I ran into was just the frame. So I was shooting directly. I was looking at the down the viewfinder and shooting what I thought was directly in the center of the frame. I thought I had my camera directly in the center of the frame and tried to line it up, and of course it was off to the side. I think that picture does work. I like the way it came out, but that camera was supposed to be way closer to the center of the frame than off to the side like that. And so that was something that it took me a minute to get used to that the viewfinder is over here, and it's not really like an accurate representation of like what you're seeing isn't exactly what's going to be in the lens because they're just so off center like that. But anyway, so that one came out really well. Also, these buildings here, and I really do like the quality of Instax film. Like it's contrasty, it's punchy, and I think it looks pretty good for the most part. So they got a couple of shots there. A wall here that's got a Wichita mural on it. Hard to see. And I apologize. It's hard to see on the screen. And the instant film, like the film itself, it's so glossy, so it reflects all the light. There's just some apartment buildings that I shot. Just walking through the park one day. There it is. Hard to focus that in, but so okay, more buildings downtown. This one came out a little underexposed, but that's all right. And last but not least, silhouette of the keeper of the plains, and I thought this one came out really well too. So I was happy with that. But anyway, so yeah, I gotta dive more into the square format because again, the square is kind of expensive, and also in my city, square film is hard to find. Um, there's only a couple of places in town that have it, and neither have it regularly. There's one Target in my town that seems to have it, and then the and Best Buy will carry it, but again, like it's not it's almost though they'll buy just like a couple at a time and then people see them and scoop them up. And so yeah, if you're not there on the day they put it out, then you're probably gonna miss out on it. So that's the unfortunate thing about it. Also, the 2 pack of 10 shots cost about $23. So that's about $1 a shot. And so it's getting more expensive. Whereas the Instax Mini, because I can buy 20 shots for $13. So that's kind of more down to like 70 cents a shot. So and like I said, the Instax Mini film, people are always selling in on Facebook Marketplace. So you can even get it cheaper than that. So I do like the mini film. It's good on cameras like this to experiment and get your settings and shots with mini film because it's cheaper to make mistakes. So do appreciate that. And going into the mini film, so this is the Mini 9. This is my instant just, again, this is like a base model camera that you can get. You can find these, you can buy these new, I think for around $60, $70 maybe, but you can go on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace right now and just search Instax, and then like these will pop up. Anything like 7 plus and up, I think is gonna be good for you. Like I said, this is 9. I think they're on the 11 or 12 now, but most of them have this button on the side. Just pop that up, lens comes out, and the camera's on, and that's it. It takes AA batteries, okay, and that's nice because you can find AA batteries anywhere. But kind of the same thing. The viewfinder is kind of off center, and with this camera in particular, I can't get the flash to not work, not turn on. It hits the flash every time. I was in my bathroom. I was just taking a selfie just a second ago, right before this broadcast, and took the shot. And I was in a well lit room, but because of that flash, it's got like this crazy. It kind of looks cool, but that's not at all what I was going for. So it's just me silhouetted with just the bright flash in the center. So yeah, that did not come out at all like I wanted it to come out. But and that's, kind of the problem, especially shooting indoors. That's not really the look I'm going for, but that's what you get sometimes. So, but yeah, check in, seeing if everybody else is in. Again, if you're just joining me, Antoine here. We are talking about Instax film in particular because I've been going all in on instant film the last 6 months or so, like hardcore. And so, instant film is so cool. I just like the ability to take the photo and then just get it printed out right then and there. Nowadays, you can scan these well enough. So The problem was back in the day, like I would take the you would take the photo, but then you didn't want to give it to somebody. Say you took a photo of someone, you wanted to keep it for your archives, but you also wanted to give it to them. So, but like I said, photo scans really easy now. There's a lot of good ways to do it. And I just asked my friends in the Instax group the other day what is their preferred method for doing so. And so I got some good answers, got some good feedback on that. I'm currently using an older Epson scanner. I think it's the V300. And, like I said, it took me a while to work the settings on that, but we got some really good scans of some of these photos, and we'll take a look at that a little bit later on. So anyway, that's the Instax Mini 9. Again, I think mini film is the way to go for the most part. Um, you do lose a lot just in loss of real estate. Again, shooting some of these square photos and wide, and again, I got something for us on the wide. We'll talk about that in a minute, but just getting that, that wide frame is nice, but, I think this is just perfect for if you're just trying to capture a moment, sharing with your friends. These are fantastic for kids. Like I said, I bought, 2 Mini 7 Pluses for my nieces just, for Christmas, and they seem to love it. They, went on and started taking photos. I'll show you one that, one of them took. Okay, that's their youngest sibling, and just used it with the flash, and I thought it came out pretty good. Again, using it inside, it kinda sucks because you can't toggle the flash on and off when you want, which is one of the downsides to that model in particular. Sorry, I have to cough there, but, so yeah, this model in particular, I don't think you can really toggle the flash on and off, but for the most part, it's pretty good. The image is sharp enough and got enough detail in it. Again, hard to see, but there it is. So she's looking adorable, my newest niece, Annika. But yeah, I mean, you can give that to a child and they can get you something like that and capture the moment, which is important. If you're looking for the sharpest image, the bokeh, the fastest glass, and all that, you're kind of missing the point of instant film. It's supposed to kinda look janky like that. It's kinda like our memories, and that's the cool thing about film. The imperfections is kinda like how we remember things. We remember things imperfectly, and so, um, it's more like looking at a memory than for me, than it is when I shoot on my A6400 or my 90D or any one of my digital cameras or whatever the case. So I just feel like film, like, again, that's just why I'm so into instant film, and again, instant because I can get it right now. I can get the film, look and shoot film and not have to wait a month to review the photos that I took. So, um, yeah, but again, it's got some settings on it here, just kinda based on where you are, whether you're in the house, you're in a bright situation, cloudy, whatever. So you just twist the knob to that setting, and it should be good to go. Okay, it says 60 millimeter. Okay, 60 millimeter lens. I'm not sure what the 35 equivalent is, or if that is the 35 equivalent. Um, but these are plastic lenses, so this isn't like the best quality. But again, they're made to be cheap. So, so yeah, I'm assuming this is like a 60 mil. I think the f stops on these are like 14.7 is what the f stop for most of these is. So pretty much everything you take is going to be in focus, shooting at f14. So, and also because of that, when you're uh outside with these cameras, you usually get a decent exposure. The ISO on the Instax film is 800, so that's pretty high. So in some and we'll talk about that more with some of these other cameras, but in some situations it really helps. Like you'll have to use some kind of ND solution, or the cameras, most of them are auto, and so they'll stop down or stop or you crank up the shutter speed or whatever they need to do to get the best exposure. And usually it's okay when they do that. So moving on. So for me, my first mini camera is still my favorite, and I post this one all the time. This is the Instax Mini Evo, and this is absolutely fantastic. I got this because this answered a bunch of problems that I was having with, you know, the mini cameras like this. For one, I wanted more control with and like I said, the Evo doesn't really give you manual controls. Okay, you can't change the aperture, you can't really change the shutter speed or anything like that. But one thing you can do is view the image before you take before you print it. So this is basically a digital camera that prints to Instax mini film, and that is a turn off for some people because they like the whole look of just shooting and just having it print out. But I like the fact that this has autofocus. I can half press the shutter and get my focus every time. So my success rate with this camera is like 95% versus, it's kind of 50-50 with some of these cameras if you can get it to come out exactly the way you wanted it to come out. So, but again, taking a look at the Evo, this design is fantastic. They Fuji took a lot of cue from some of their other rangefinders, and so this kind of has that design. I kind of wish it had that slope that a lot of rangefinders have, and that would have made it even that much more cleaner. Like cameras like the X100 series and things like that. But I do like the tactility of this camera. If you listen, like all the dials, the oh, fantastic. But even the buttons, like the buttons feel nice. So it seems to be made pretty well. It's plastic, of course, but it's got like this texture on it that grips pretty well. And so I usually don't have like anxiety about dropping this thing. I did add this viewfinder on the top of it. That is one of the downsides to this camera, that it doesn't have a viewfinder. It's got this screen where you can see everything on it. Let me turn it on real fast. And so you got this 2-inch screen or whatever it is, and it looks pretty good. But I said, there you go. I can point it at myself and good to go. And just like that, I can look and see if that's the image I want, then I can print it. So also, if you get something like just a micro SD card, I think there's like a 16 gig in here, and because the files are so small, I'm packing like something like 25,000 photos I can get in this thing. And so it's a bunch of photos that I've taken around lately. Okay, that's some photos I shot at night. But I do appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that you can just store these cameras. I don't even have to have film in it. If I'm out of film and I still want to shoot, there's some guys that I shot at the camera store. So shout out to them. That's the guy right there that had the Polaroid that took the picture of me. So I took a picture of him in return. And so it's just cool. Like you can there's those apartment buildings again. I just like the way those look against the clouds. So I shoot those buildings often when I walk through there, when walking through the park. So like I said, you got a bunch of different looks on it. Here's some double exposures. But yeah, this camera has a bunch of different settings that you can do. There's the mirrored because the kids painted my nails because I lost a bet. We got some fisheye stuff going on there. So yeah, again, there's my nieces again. But again, just a bunch of different settings that you can do. And if you want to print them, you can. If not, you don't have to. Um, it goes without saying because it's basically a digital camera that prints stills. Again, you can print the photo and give it to the person. The picture stays on your camera, so you can print it again later if you want, and you can post it to social media easy enough. Also, the cool thing about this as it works as a printer, so it's Bluetooth capable, so I can hook my phone up to it. I can hook my proper cameras up to it and take photos, and they look fantastic. And actually, I'll show you some examples of that. This is my little photo book here. I do recommend buying one of these. Okay, I'll have to get a couple for my nieces so they can store all the pictures that they take. But the cool thing about it is, even if you take a photo with, a high-end camera, once you print it on this film, it brings the quality down a little bit. It has more of a filmic look, which is a great way to get the film look on these digital cameras. I can print it out here and have it look more filmic, and then I can scan these afterwards. So, for instance, here's a photo taken with my Lumix S5. Okay, so that's the S5 with and it's cool because I put a vintage lens on that. So that's a shot taken on my S5 and the 105 2.5 Nikon lens, aka the Afghan girl. So yeah. So that statue, it has a really cool look to it. And now that I've printed it, I can scan it and then I can share pictures of that scan and it'll look more analog. And so I brought, that picture. Here's another one. Here's an example of a picture scanned with my phone. And that's a concert we went to. I couldn't bring any cameras because I didn't have any. So all I had was my phone. But I like that picture so much. Actually, I printed it again. This center picture right here, it's the same photo. So but like I said, I got the mini for it, and so I gave one to my girlfriend 'cause we went to that concert together. So she has one, I got one. I printed it there, and like I said, I can post it on, I can scan it and then post it digitally. And again, it brings that look down. This is let's see, another example here. Trying to find a good one here. Oh, let me find one that I took with, say, my 90D. This is one of my favorite photos I've ever taken. If I can get it out. But chilling at the zoo, got a picture of this guy staring directly into my soul. So I took his photo. It's orangutan, and it looks dope on the Instax film. Again, now that I've put it to film, I can scan it. Of course, I can scan it directly from my digital camera, but it's gonna have that clinical look, which is also nice. Don't be fooled, okay? Don't think that you can't play the game if all you have is like a T5i or an A6000 or something like that. You got a digital camera, you can still get more filmic looks. There's ways to do it. We'll talk about that in future videos. But once you print it to film and then scan it after that, then some of that digitalness is lost in translation. Um, but yeah, this one right here, I took with a digicam. We'll have to talk about digicams on this camera now that the hype is dying down. Was doing some street photography, caught this lonely guy here walking. It's hard to see. I apologize for that because the Instax film is mad glossy. But again, once I shot it and then printed it to film and just looking at it up close, like it has a really cool analog look to it. And so I can scan it and preserve that analog look. Okay. There's another picture shot with my Canon 90D. Okay. So it's taking some portraits of a friend. But yeah, awesome. And again, I can bring that film look out of any camera if I print it on an Instax, or I'm sure it works for Polaroid too. Here's last one I'll show you. This is with my Fujifilm camera. Okay. Great shot right there of my girlfriend's little brother. So, like I said, the contrast is punchy. The colors are really good when you shoot in color. And again, scanning those, now I've really transformed the quality and the look of of photo that was shot on even my digital cameras. Doesn't matter if you got like a Canon R series, A7S4, whatever the case. So I really do enjoy that. And again, that's why this is my favorite. Oh, I'll show you real quick. Even the mini the camera itself, it's not the best image. It is a 5 megapixel sensor on there, and that itself isn't a big deal. But the big deal with this is the compression is crazy on this, and so you don't get the best quality. It's really akin to like a cell phone from like 2008 uh, at best, and so, but still though, if you're in the zone, you get the light. These cameras love light. Okay, so if you get and a nice bright situation, you can still get some really nice stuff. Talking about the stats on this camera, the specs, it's a little different than this camera. It's still your plastic lens, but this, instead of the 60 millimeter equivalent, this is a 28 mil, and that's perfect for street. That's my favorite focal length for street photography. So I can go out and just take this camera and still get some dope like street shots, and we'll take a look at some of those in a minute. But so 28 2.0 on the aperture, whereas these are sitting at uh like 14, like F14, F16. This is F2.0. So that, I mean, don't get too excited that you it's still really hard to get shallow depth of field with a camera like this, and that doesn't mean that this camera is a low light monster. Again, this the sensor in it, if they had put a better sensor in it and made this camera 500 bucks, I still would have bought it cuz that would have been serious. If they put a better sensor and maybe like a glass lens or something like that, and an actual thread, like this threading here is just for show. So I was mad about that. So you'll have to get something that goes around the lens, 3D print something, or people on Etsy are starting to make them now where you can put filters on these, or you can just hold it up to it, um, like an ND filter or something like that. But yeah, it's made for just being social. It's made for the party. But if they had made a real like serious version of that camera, I would have bought it in a heartbeat. Still happy with what we got out of it, but yeah. So let me share my screen here. I'm gonna take a look. Yeah, don't show this again. I know how to do this. So it's asking me all these choose what to share with StreamYard. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Okay. So it's asking me all these first time questions because it thinks I'm streaming for the first time, but I'm actually not. Okay. So, okay, let's share this. So hopefully you're seeing like a bunch of my pictures. Here's some pictures taken with the actual Instax camera. Okay. So this one here, again, fantastic photo. The colors look great. It's nice and the contrast is nice and punchy. The colors are saturated. Like that's a great looking photo, and it was taken straight out of this camera while I was walking around doing some street photography. I also like that it has a little timestamp there. So this was shot in April of 2023. And so that's cool. That kind of adds to the look of it. But again, shot right out the camera. So you can get some street photography on. That's another one I shot just of my film camera. And that's crazy because I was looking for the film look, and I started off with buying vintage glass. I got a bunch of FD lenses, some Nikon, some old Nikon lenses, stuff like that. And I put those on my digital cameras to kind of get more of a vintage look, which does work. I've got some really great results doing that. But once I got into this instant film, I got so hype about film photography in general that I went out and bought. That's the first film camera I bought. Now I have a lot of film cameras, but that's my first and still my favorite film SLR. That's the Canon F1. It's a beast of a camera, fully mechanical, so I don't need a battery with it. It does take a battery, but that's just for the light meter, but we can shoot Sunny 16 and avoid that. This is a cool photo I took at a Starbucks here in town. I love that all things coffee. And the woman sitting there. Can I rotate this? Okay, so that's what we got there. And that looks fantastic. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see this. Hopefully it's sharing. Okay. Okay, here's another one. I'm looking at the feed here on my phone. And it doesn't look like it's pulling up. So I might have to stop sharing. I might have to look at this later. So yeah, I don't know if that came across like it was supposed to or not. But again, I apologize. yeah, so yeah, I'm looking here. Unfortunately, y'all didn't see anything I just showed you, which sucks. But again, it's the internet here. I am hooked in via Ethernet for the fastest results. However, the weather here is incredibly bad. We're sitting at a wind chill of like -5 degrees. And so, yeah, the internet around town has just been spotty. People's electricity have been going out, and luckily we haven't had our electricity go out, but our internet has been garbage the last several days, which is unfortunate for trying to live stream. But yeah, anyway, like I said, the Mini Evo probably it's I go back and forth between it and another camera that I'm about to show you in a minute. Honestly, I would probably choose the Mini Evo simply because of its ease of use. Its features like its great autofocus allow me to get the shot that I'm trying to get. And so, yeah, so shout out to the Mini Evo. It's still my favorite. Again, the design of it is really nice. Leica made a version of this in conjunction with Instax, the Sofort or whatever it's called. It's a nice looking camera too. I think this one is better looking though, but the Leica one comes in a bunch of fun colors, and so yeah, you could grab that. Again, I got this viewfinder on top. This is just a TT Artisans 28 mil viewfinder. So if I ever got another camera like a Ricoh or something like that, I can put a 28 mil lens on it and use this. They make other ones too, those like gray ones from those Chinese little gray ones, but those suck. Get this because one, it looks way better on your camera. If I can get it back on here, it looks way better sitting on your camera. Okay, that looks dope. And two, I just think that it's the glass is better. Like I just think it looks better. And so if I'm shooting through this, I have to angle the camera up a little bit to compensate for the frame, but for the most part, it's pretty close to what I'm trying to capture, you know, compared to what's on the screen. I like shooting an orientation in a portrait orientation like that. So this camera is made to shoot in portraits. The print comes out the top here. They've got this little groove. Sorry, they've got this little groove here that sits in your thumb. Okay, so you're supposed to hold it like that and then snap the photo like that. But like I said, I like holding the camera like this because that's just what I'm used to. Okay. So with the viewfinder on here, then I can just shoot like that, like I can with any of my other cameras when I'm shooting portraits. And I can just get that and just shoot that way. And of course, once you take the photo, you can use the rotate function that's in here to flip it to the right orientation so the print doesn't come out upside down. So, but yeah, I love just shooting like that. Again, the buttons feel nice. Like this is a solid camera. A lot of people hate on this camera because it's technically not an instant film camera, and I get that. It's basically just a digital camera with a built-in Instax printer that prints your photos, but it gives something in that process when it's switching to print. And so yeah, I still love it. I didn't talk anything about the settings on here as far as like the different effects you can put on. So this dial on top, okay, you can use it to change like the type of color. Okay, so put my ugly face here. This is the retro filter here. Okay, that's a blue filter. That's a red filter, which unfortunately is more just like a violet or a purple. It's not as cool as I thought it was gonna be. I want like red, like I want it to come out looking like red scale. That's what I thought it was gonna be, and then it wasn't. But whatever, that's cool. You got a yellow filter here that looks like pee. Okay. You got sepia. Okay, you've got the monochrome, which the monochrome looks really nice in here, especially when you compare it with some of the other lens effects that I'm going to show you here in a second. What else you got? You got the canvas, which I never use. I do use this pale a lot though. If I really want like it to look like an old Tommy photo, like there's a touch of color in there, and you can see there. You see that green box? Like this thing has face tracking. You see it? Like that's crazy. Face tracking, and again, it's a $200 instant camera, but vivid. So if you really want it to be punchy, if your subject has a lot of color, like if it's like some nicely colored buildings and stuff like that, You can go hard on that, and then there's the regular. Okay, it still looks different though because I'm using the film effect. So let me go back. So that's just regular. That's okay, regular color, regular lens effects. But if I twist this way, whoops, let me go this way first. Okay, so I can put a vignette on it. So again, you can do that in contrast with, say, monochrome. I do that a lot. Do a monochrome with a vignette. Okay, I do like that, and so that's cool. Like you can put the combinations together. Pale with the vignette is also nice, but you can do that and get essentially 100 different looks out of these combinations. But like I said, so you got the vignette, you got a soft focus. I do like the soft focus. I do like going monochrome and soft focus a lot, or pale and soft focus. I keep going the wrong way because it's backwards. Blur is also really nice. Honestly, this gives you a little bokeh in the background, like a little fake bokeh in the background. And so I'm here for that. You got your fisheye. Okay. So if you want to take a silly photo like that, you got that. You got the color shift, which looks pretty cool. A nice retro look. And you can tell if you look, depending on what I'm shooting with, it'll change the shutter speed accordingly, depending on what kind of look you're trying to get. So just be advised. Like this color shift, you really gotta the shutter speed is much slower when you're color shifting. So light leaks, you see the shutter speed sped back up versus the color shift. So keep that in mind. But that's cool. You got some light leaks. I honestly don't like the look of these light leaks. I wish it was a different color other than this red orange, but it's cool. You got the mirror look. So that's fine. Whoa, kissing myself. That's crazy. That's wild. Kiss myself. Okay. Up back to light leak. But there's your double exposure. And that's really easy. You just set it in double exposure. Take a frame. Okay. I'll go ahead and do it right now. So whoops. Other side. Take a frame of myself, okay? And now I'll take another picture, say like of this Instax photo up against a brick wall. Okay, now that I've done that, okay, there you go, double exposure. So really easy to get that off, but so that's kind of fun. And then last but not least, we got oh, whoops. And then like I said, last but not least, we got our half frame, which is nice. Oh, what's wrong way? So you'll take a shot and then take another picture, and then the frames will be right next to each other. So that's cool. Like I had a student of mine, she had a picture of herself when she was like 3 years old. Whoops. And she happened to be wearing a picture that was or wearing an outfit that was very similar to what she was wearing when she was 3 years old. So I took out my camera. I took a picture of her picture, okay, and made it look, nice. And then I took a picture of her, and so it was cool. She had that side by side of her like 10 years apart, wearing the same thing. So that's pretty cool. So I do again, and again, it's just fun if you are taking photos. If I'm on a professional gig, taking photos, like for instance, if I'm at a wedding and I'm getting footage of the wedding, I'll usually bring this around. Okay, it's nice just to get party photos of people, uh, and I can give those out right away. Or if I take a dope picture of the bride or groom, I can hook my 90D up to this via Bluetooth, print something out real quick, and give them just something as just a nice little gift. Um, special occasions, if I go take something, I can print it out and give it to people. So if you're talking about the gift of photography, like this is the main tool in my arsenal for that. Fantastic. And as of right now, still my favorite Instax mini camera that I've ever used. Okay. It does have a close contender though, and we'll talk about that next. So, in addition to Fuji, there are a lot of third-party companies that make these Instax cameras. Uh, and a lot of times they will put pro features that we're missing, things that we want, like manual controls, for instance, glass lenses, faster apertures, so you can get more shallow depth of field, just so you can all in all just take more professional looking photos with your instant cameras, and they the really push the capabilities of Instax mini film. Uh, and so enter There's a company named Mint that makes this camera here. This is the Instaflex, the Mint TL70. This is the version 2 with the brighter viewfinder, but again, and this is what I'm talking about. So they went from the plastic, they've got glass elements here, glass lenses, okay, for higher quality. Um, this stops down to 5.6. Now, that doesn't sound a lot because this stops down to 2.0. Well, the problem is the sensor in this camera, because it's a digital camera, it's using a sensor that's 1/5 of an inch. Okay, it's a very, very small cell phone like sensor in here. And because of that, you're not getting the shallow depth of field that you want in most cases. You can get it. I'll go back to that in a second. You can get it. It's tricky. Okay. If you do a portrait and you put the lens in macro mode, for instance, you can get some shots that give you some depth of field in it. But this, I mean, very easy to do it um, with a camera like this because it's not using a digital sensor. It's using like the actual, and I mean, these slides, if you compare these small Instax pictures, if you compare that to a 35 millimeter frame, this is essentially medium format territory. So compared to an actual like full frame camera, uh, this has, I want to say, a 60, I think it said it has a 68 mil lens in here, or something like somewhere in that neighborhood. 68, 80 mil, something like that. But it's really equivalent to about a 38 mil like f3.5 or something, 3.2, something like that. So you can definitely get some bokeh with this camera. Um but there has a couple of quirks. First off, I love the fact that it's a TLR. This TLR design is absolutely dope to me. The fact that I can look down the top here and see kind of like just like a three-dimensional image, okay, right in my frame. Like that's absolutely fantastic to me. Um, it's built well. The build quality is nice on it. The buttons and everything feel pretty good on it. The only problem with this camera is just first of all, it has a light meter in it. I don't know if I can show you without screwing up. So if you look down in there, whoops, I'm gonna see you can see my light that's above us. Okay. If I point that at it, if I half press, you see that green light. Okay. So that's telling me that this is basically an aperture priority camera. So at 5.6, it's telling me that if it boosts the shutter speed up enough and all of that, it can get that exposed right. That's not true. That would actually be kind of a dope photo. But if I were to click that shutter and print that picture, it would just pretty much be all white. You would get almost no detail at all because it's overexposed and blown out. And that's the problem with this camera. A lot of people will post pictures, myself included, of often blown out pictures, and it does some weird light leak things sometimes. And here's an example. Uh, it's a picture of a student in my classroom. My classroom is well lit, but it's not like the sun lit, but it barely came out. Like it's hard to get proper exposure. The person sitting next to him is pretty much completely gone, and so, yeah, super hard. This doesn't really work out of the box unless you have the ND filters that come with it. And the ND filters are like $100 that slap on there, the filter kit. And this camera is already $400. So that's a $500 investment, but it's worth it to get the right exposures. Another thing you can do is take like, I don't have an ND filter in arm's reach, but just pretend that's an ND filter. Okay, you can take your indie filter and pop it in front of the bottom lens there, and just let the shutter fly, and let it crank up. And like Ben said from In an Instant, that's what he does. He just lets it crank at 500th of a second, and yeah, and he can kind of judge it better that way. I did that with some of these photos. Okay, this one was outside, and that was after sundown, but I still had to use the filter on that to get that to come out. And it's hard to see because this camera won't focus that close. But the problem, did we get it? The problem is that because you're holding a filter in front of it while trying to hold the button, you introduce a little bit of camera shake. And if the shutter isn't up high, like 500th of a second, 400th of a second, whatever the case, then you're definitely going to get some some motion blur in there. So it's really hard to get tack sharp unless you're using a tripod. So yeah. So anyway, it's kind of tricky. I have taken some nice photos with it though. Uh, like I said, I would love to show you the scans on the computer, but the internet won't allow us to do that at the moment. So let me go through my book and show you some of the photos that I've taken with the Mint camera. Let's see. So here's one. So if you're outside, you can stop this down. So at the bottom here, there's your little wheel for your aperture. You can't really see it, but right now I'm at 5.6. I can turn that and go all the way down to f22. Okay. I don't know if you can see that, but it's at f22 right now. And at f22, it's pretty dark. So if I do that, and then on the side, we've got the exposure compensation dial. I've got it at -1. You can put it at equal or +1. So -1 if I'm outside bright, -1. Okay. F22. You can get something like this, but first thing you see, the color shift really bad. It gets really blue for one, and for two, this lens is gonna kill me. There it is. So the color shifts really bad, so it's very blue. It was not that blue outside, okay? And then you notice the crazy vignette that you get in the corners. So yeah, I just don't like that look because it looks too different. I actually got it sharp though, but the image looks totally different than what I'm looking at. So um not a fan of that. But you can do it if you're outside. You can get a shot off like that. Another example of that that came out well is I took a picture of a basketball goal. Okay, same thing, but the basketball goal was basically on the sun side of the sky, like I was shooting into the sun. So it still came out okay. You can see that huge vignette that comes out when you shoot f22, but for the most part, that looked okay. And so you can get by without the ND filter if you're doing stuff like that. Also, of course, if you're shooting on a cloudy day or overcast or whatever, if you're shooting under something like a building, so here's a good example of a shot. Okay, it was bright outside, and I think I shot this at f8, or maybe it was 5.6. But if you're, covered like that in a covered area, you can get shots off. Of course, notice everything in the background is blown out, and you'll get no detail there. But you can get shots like that. But like I said, they recommend that you just hold the oh, here's another one. This one makes me mad because I didn't take this. I gave this to my friend Sam, and I was like, "Hey, take a picture." And Shelby was there too, so he took a picture of Shelby, and this picture came out perfect. And I'm mad because I didn't even take that photo. Shout out to my friend Sam; he took the photo. We were outside. I think I was at 5.6, or maybe I was at f8 because the background is nice and blurred out. But he's tack sharp. You can't really tell because this camera is. I'm gonna have to put my Canon on the sticks. The autofocus, I don't care what nobody says. Canon's autofocus is still the best in the game. Okay, this Sony out here is bugging. But anyway, like fantastic shot. He got there. There's one that I took. Okay, bright sunny day. I was holding the ND filter in place, and so there you go. So it does work if you just got an ND filter at home or whatever. You can just hold it in front of the camera. Really gotta bring your arms in and hold your breath when you click that shutter, though. But the cool thing about that is at night, like this camera is a low light beast, okay? Pitch black in the fog. You can't really see it here, but there's details in the streets and all of that. But yeah, just shot that in the fog, caught that. Like it looks great. So you can shoot in really low light situations with it and get some nice stuff. But yeah, you definitely need that ND filter if you're going to shoot outside. And that's the only thing about it. But again, aesthetically, it's a gorgeous looking camera. Okay. It's a nice conversation starter. Okay. Every time I'm wearing this and I walk into somewhere and they're like, is that a camera? Like, what is that? Like, oh, you're shooting on an old camera. Like, I always strike up a conversation if I'm just out somewhere and they see it. Because again, it's gorgeous. Also, cool that it does have a flash. Okay. It's hidden in the top logo there, which is awesome because it hides the fact that it has a flash. I very seldom use the flash, and so I like that it's hidden by the logo and looks fantastic. So yeah, but all again, this is a close second. Is my second favorite Instax Mini camera, but I got to give the edge to the Evo simply because I'm more accurate with it at the moment. Uh, Pretty much whatever I'm trying to go for, whatever I'm trying to shoot, I get with the Mini Evo. So there's that. Okay, so I think that's all. That's all my instant cameras covered. Okay, so last but not least, if I can get this off, I probably I'm gonna try it. I probably shouldn't do it because I'm doing this live and I've never done it before. So this might totally flop. If it flops, my bad. I'll talk about it in a video in the near future. But where did I put it? Okay. So anyway, I was gonna show you guys. I got a great gift from my girlfriend's mom for Christmas. Oh, here it is. And she knows I'm into photography. She knows I'm into instant film. So she actually bought me an Instax wide printer. So that's cool. And she also gave me some film. I just opened up the top. I haven't really cracked this open. So maybe if I'm lucky, it's got a sheet of film in it that I can get started with. But yeah, let's take a look. But again, it's cool because I can take photos with my high-end digital cameras and I can just print them out. Oh, cool. It comes with a little stand. That's neat. Something in there. I don't know what that is. Here's the printer itself. Oh, it's too bad. I was hoping it would come with some film, but it doesn't look like it does, which is unfortunate. But that's okay because she got me covered and bought some. And again, this film is expensive, but Instax Y. Yeah, that's just a little booklet. Okay. Skip, no information needed. I like just winging it because I'm a dude. So here we go. Oh yeah. So she's pretty. Like, yeah. So pretty sleek looking. Okay. Oh, I just turned it on. Push the Instax button. Okay. Something happened. It turned on and turned off. It probably needs to be charged, honestly. So I probably won't be able to do this in this video. But there's the back there. It opens just like every other Instax thing. I stick the cartridge in there, pop it out. I assume the negative slide will pop out after that. And then uh, I'm assuming I can hook it via Bluetooth, press the button, and then the print prints out. I've got a really cool photo that I took with my Canon 90D. I don't bring this camera out much, but uh, right before the year ended, I took it out. I think it was New Year's Eve or the day before New Year's Eve. And I was getting some street photos with this, and I took a fantastic photo that I would love to put on Instax, but I didn't want to put it on the mini because I felt like the mini format wouldn't do it justice. So that's cool that I got this printer because now I'm like, okay, awesome. Like I'm gonna this should definitely capture that. I was just gonna print it on my photo printer back there and shoot it like 8 by 10, but yeah, I'm gonna put it on this and see how that looks. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. That was just a look at some Instax Mini, Instax film in particular. But again, what are you guys shooting with? What's your favorite format? Do you like the square, the wide, or the mini the best? Me personally, if I had to pick, I would go with the mini simply because it's the cheapest. I'm not gonna lie. Again, it allows me to experiment and make mistakes and not feel too bad about throwing pictures away. Um, so yeah, definitely. But again, when you're talking Instax wide, like this pack here, I don't know where I set it, but the 2 pack of the Instax wide is close to, I think it's close to $25. Okay, $25 for 20 shots. So now you're over $1 a shot. You're still not Polaroid type of prices, but this is the most expensive on the Instax side of things. But I hear great things about this film. I hear great things about Instax wide cameras. So maybe I need to search on Facebook to get a cheap Instax wide camera, or maybe I need to look at some of these third party companies like Lomography and Mint to buy a cool professional wide Instax camera. We'll see. I don't know. But anyway, guys, that's it. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, threats, let's talk about it in the comment section below. What is your favorite Instax camera? If you like this content, go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this. But with that being said, that's all I got for you. I'm out. Until next time. And now I need to hit the end of the stream button. So there we go. Bye, guys.